What was it like? What was Halloween like in Istanbul?
Halloween, what was it like? Let me think back. Andrew and I...
Oh, were you dressed up? Was Andrew dressed up? What was Andrew dressed up as?
We were both vampires.
And in like Twilight? Oh, was there a theme to your vampire?
God, no. Not Twilight. I think, had we been any vampires, it would have been the vampires from True Blood. Have you seen True Blood?
I know of the show. I haven't. Actually, I just watched a vampire film last night.
Oh, yeah?
Only Lovers Left Alive by Jim Jarmusch. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. The director, he did Dead Man with Johnny Depp. Back in the day. This is his newest. It's got Tilda Swinton and Tom Hiddleston. Loki from. Yeah. Really good. I mean, it's I've only seen, this will be the third of his films I've seen.
Okay.
And they were saying, critics were saying that it was maybe the most accessible, because I saw Broken Flowers with Bill Murray, and a lot of people didn't like that one. And I actually, I go in to a Bill Murray movie saying, whatever I see, I'm just going to be pleased with it. So maybe I wasn't a really good objective critic of it. But last night, it was a good one. So, and I watched it with my fiance, who she cannot watch a film. I mean, she cannot sustain attention.
Oh, right.
She wants to watch movies, but she's always on her phone. She's always looking at other things. And she's frequently asking me about plot points that have just been, literally the previous scene was what set this up. And so part of that is frustrating. Mm-hmm. And I say, you know what, everyone's got their own different approach to how to watch films. But when I told her it was a vampire film, she had, the natural, I think, the post-Twilight resentment of all vampire anything.
Of course.
And so I said, no, trust me, it's a bit different. And so the moment, she's like, it was after 15 minutes, she's like, John, it's really strange. They haven't shown their teeth. I'm like, well, it's not really necessary to show the teeth. You just kind of assume that they're there.
They're there.
And then a couple minutes later was a scene where they do drink blood for the first time.
Oh, there you go.
In like a wine glass, and they see their teeth. And she's like, oh, okay. She's like, oh, someone's gonna kill this guy. And I'm like, it's actually not a horror film.
Yeah.
Really, it's just, they just happen to be vampires.
Just vampires.
And I told her I have to show her Let the Right One In, which was this really, really excellent. It got really pretty famous because it came out right after Twilight, and it was a Finnish kind of vampire angst teen romance.
Oh. Okay.
But I mean, I say all these things, and it doesn't really adequately describe the creepiness of the film, and the real, like, it's a really good film. And they did an American remake, which
and the name of it
was the original was Let the Right One In.
Let the Right One In.
Because they can't. It always is about crossing the threshold, uninvited. And there was an American remake done like 1 year after, because this Finnish film was really underground. I mean, by the American standards, it was internationally quite well known.
Right.
And so they saw an opportunity to make it, an American style one. And apparently, the American one was really, really good too. And some people consider it, they have their preferences one for the other.
Yeah.
And I've never gotten over the initial hesitation I have of watching a really quality film Americanized. But eventually I may do it for.
Yeah, you should. Just
to be able to compare. Yeah, because they made some changes that people said, the changes are enough that they're justifiable. So I don't know if our listeners have much of a preference or much thought on vampire films. Have you ever seen? I didn't see any Twilight.
No, I mean I think I saw the first one, and being an avid True Blood fan, I sort of was I don't know.
See, what's the difference? Because my expectation is that even though it's HBO, True Blood, because I remember I was working in a bookstore, I was familiar with the series before it became a show, and my expectation was it's very much kind of like just regular genre serial, novels. So they were coming out like that. So, what separates the two in your mind?
I don't know. There's just a lot more action in True Blood. Whereas in Twilight, it's just all, romance and I love her, but she doesn't love me. She loves this vampire, but I'm a cool werewolf kind of crap that you don't really care about, But with True Blood, it's got like every episode leaves you on a cliffhanger. And that's what I love about some TV shows, is that you really want to watch the next episode to see what happens. Are
they, I mean, would you say it's kind of soap opera-esque? Because I wonder if, HBO's gotten into the habit, and I haven't watched a lot of HBO, so I'm kind of making this this observation definitely from far outside looking in. But I wonder if HBO's drama series have gone the way of like being very much like high quality soap operas in the sense that everything is really like Game of Thrones. It's always, you know.
Yeah, kind of similar. It's kind of like I don't know if you ever watched 6 Feet Under.
No, I know of it. But
it's kind of like that too. But actually, now that you mention it, and I'm thinking about it, yeah, they're all kind of like the same.
See, I wonder because my understanding was like The Sopranos, which I think is not the first really quality show that HBO did, but maybe the one that just changed the game forever for HBO. And I don't, again, it shocked people because I've watched a lot of mafia films and I read basically everything Mario Puzo wrote, who wrote the Godfather series and many others. And I never did watch The Sopranos because I never paid for HBO.
Right.
But my understanding was it wasn't, cliffhanger-ish. There were plenty of episodes that were just, character studies and developments and these things.
Yeah.
But I feel like other shows now, they need that cliffhanger aspect.
I think so.
They're kind of based around
Especially Game of Thrones, now that we're talking about it. Definitely. I only just started watching Game of Thrones and I can't stop watching it.
Oh, you... See, I think I still haven't... I've only watched bits. My fiance watches a little bit. She watches a lot of shows, but none of them very much.
Right.
It's really just whatever is streaming the fastest that night. But I have found myself reading the reviews
of
Game of Thrones and very, some other shows because I think I'm more interested in the concept of people following it.
Yeah.
I don't know that I could sit through literally watching them all. So I knew about spoiler alert. I knew about Joffrey dying like the 2 days before. So when Malik was watching it, I'm like, oh wow, this is the episode. I can see because there's a wedding, so he's gonna die in like 5 seconds. And this is how.
No.
And so I didn't say anything to her because she at least has watched it enough that she hates that character.
Okay.
I guess like everybody.
Yeah.
So she was really relieved and really satisfied when he dies. But I found myself interested in the character of Tyrion. I said, does he die? Is he dying in the next few episodes? Because, every character's supposed to. Yeah. But then I did check, and I'm no spoiler alert, but I've got my answer.
Yeah. But it's a pretty good show. I mean, it took me a while to get into it, but after I did, I don't know. Do I regret it? I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I actually never read the Harry Potter books because I was concerned that I would get too deep into the mythos and the backstories and these things. And I said, I did it with Star Wars. I was a hardcore Star Wars fan, bit of an amateur Star Trek, a Trekkie, and I held off on Lord of the Rings for a while too. And then I just absolutely succumbed to that temptation. And so after Lord of the Rings, I said, I really, maybe when I'm 30 or 40. I'll come back to Harry Potter. It'll become, will have stood the test of time and will be well respected as this major contribution to literature in the early 21st century.
I never read them either, but I did watch most of the movies, but the books, no. I think I read the first one. That was it. Yeah.
And it's so different.
Yeah.
I mean, because again, I remember I worked at a bookstore. I think the year after, or the year that came out, it was my first year working at a bookstore. Yeah. So it was really interesting to see the development of that phenomena, and then to see how it spawned off all these copies.
Yeah.
I mean, if anything has changed in my life that I could personally observe, it was the publishing industry in the U.S. It just lived off of selling to teenagers.
Definitely.
And grabbing adults who like teenage material, were still affected by the broad concepts and these things, but that's that's segueing off of music a little bit.
That's all right. You got a little bit of film and TV shows.
Film. Now, you're in the social scene. Some of them, I guess.
Kind of, yeah.
Is there a film scene? I mean, is there like aficionados or underground screenings and showings? Are you into this kind of stuff, or is it?
I personally am not, but I mean, I do have some friends that are. I mean, I did. I can't remember. I did go to one of the films. I can't remember who had done it, but it was at Boğaziçi, and it was about gay teenagers and their families in Turkey. And it was, I think it was made by someone in Boğaziçi, and I did go and see that. But apart from anything else like that, I'm not sure.
Were you in that little building? There's a little cinema. It's a separate building, and I've actually never been in it. I didn't know what it was until someone mentioned it during the break, between the semesters. There's a pretty good film club there. I just don't have the time. Otherwise, I would love to join it.
I mean, I'm not sure. Correct me if I'm wrong, or anybody that's listening that's at Boğaziçi, but I can't remember if this is correct or not. But there is some kind of film festival in Istanbul. Where,
there definitely is that.
Yeah, there is. But I couldn't remember if there was one that was in Boğaziçi, because I was invited to one, but I just can't remember which one it was. It was a really, really long time ago. But if I had known Turkish, and if I improved my Turkish, I would love to go and see them, but I don't understand anything, unfortunately.
That is a limited factor. There's a lot of film festivals I know, but every time I hear of one, whether it's Izmir or Istanbul, I assume Ankara would be the same.
Yeah.
It's like they're sold out before they go on sale.
Yeah,
I mean, every ticket is just pre-reserved to someone associated with the presentation.
Right.
So I've never been able to go to a film festival, and I would say there's not knowing Turkish, and I think you'd have to know Turkish pretty well to really appreciate watching a film of this kind, and they almost are always. No, I guess I was about to say they're almost always documentary-ish, and that's really maybe it's a generalization, but it does seem like all the independent films are dealing with very much the same subject matter.
Yes, I agree.
Always the eastern part of the country, usually dealing with sexual abuse or sexual identity issues in the people of the southeast part of the country, and to the point where. I don't know. I don't know that, after being aware of it, I don't know that I can necessarily watch them all.
Yeah, I don't think
like a full festival or something like this. It'd be too much. But my fiance, these really, really affect and appeal to her.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's why they're so popular. I think there's a group of people who are interested in film, in independent film. And I guess because in their minds, these issues and subjects they're not resolving in society. That, it's always... the most useful or most worthwhile film subject. Now, we've just been recently been joined by a special guest to this special podcast. We'd like to welcome Andrew.
Hey, how's it going?
Andrew, he's got a few minutes. He's a busy man.
Yeah.
Dropping by the new studio.
So what is this about, like, independent films and...
It's independent films in Turkey. We're talking about the film scene. Film festival scene here in Turkey. You got any thoughts?
It is so lame. I am going to raise a cigarette to my mouth. I'm going to wait for 5 minutes. I'm going to pretend to draw on that cigarette. No, I'm going to change my mind and pull it back. That is it. Independent films.
In Turkey? Or generally
for the most part, generally speaking.
You were slagging off French films last
God.
time we talked.
Oh God.
French?
I watched a couple French independent films with my roommate. They have a very bizarre concept of what is mildly entertaining and what is good film TV.
Well,
French, I would have just assumed that a woman goes topless and that's about it. That's the whole movie.
No, you got the typical topless bits, but there's no storyline around why is she topless. Was it too hot in the apartment and the air conditioner is broken?
Well, I mean, is there a pantomime?
I didn't see any.
Well, see, that's not you're not watching a quality French film, but true art and culture.
What was that really weird movie I watched? Land of Lost Children or something?
City of Lost Children.
City of Lost Children.
Are you gonna? What do you think of that film?
I was watching it, but I really didn't get it.
Oh my God, that's an excellent film. What do you think of Amélie?
There's
Amélie, come on.
I couldn't sit through Amélie.
What?
You just don't like cinema.
No, I like cinema.
I just don't think you appreciate
couldn't sit through Amélie.
Cinema.
Okay, it had a very distinctive style. Was it just bothering? Did you?
No, I mean, I was watching it, and I'm watching it by myself, and I'm like, okay, this is kind of boring. Let's go with something more action. It depends who I'm with. For example, if I was with other people who appreciated that, I might give it a little more interest. But if it's just me, myself, I'm like, ooh, shiny distraction. Okay, let's go over here now.
Yeah, I mean, I can admit that it's sometimes tough for me to... I mean, I go 6 months maybe without watching a film. And then in the right mood, I'll just watch 3 or so in a couple of days.
Exactly.
But that's a shame. Amélie is a good film. And I think City of Lost Children is
I didn't like City of Lost Children. I haven't really given Amelie a chance. I will review it later. I will go over it again.
Yeah, we'll revisit this topic.
But City of Lost Children, you have like the Borg. You got like the 5 screaming weird elf things that are like mentality of children.
Oh, you mean the clones?
Yeah, the clones.
Yeah.
Elf things.
I don't know. They're like non-talking, childlike.
No, they speak. What are you talking about? The non-talking?
Do they speak in that movie?
Well, if you're talking about the clones, I mean the
clones.
guys that are clones.
No, that's the cyborg ones, right?
No.
No. Okay.
Are you talking about the same film?
Yes.
We are, because the cyborg ones he's talking about, they blind themselves.
Yeah.
Oh.
You know, in order to see the light, they have to see the darkness. It's a sub point. It's a subplot of the film, and it becomes. There was a video game based on that movie.
Okay.
Which is hard to imagine for anyone who's recently seen it, and it was based around those guys, that cult.
Okay. Either way, as enjoyable as this conversation is, I must run. If you guys are available in about 45 minutes, we can diverge deeper into this topic.
Divulge.
Divulge.
Into the
Neither one is accurate.
What is it then, Michael? Grammar not see me.
Say it again.
Expand on this topic.
Okay. I will divulge more opinions on this topic.
Maybe just dive deeper into the subject.
Okay. But I will divulge more opinion on this topic.
There you go. Why not? Yeah.
Okay.
Enjoy.
See ya.
So that's Andrew. He's got another project he's working on right now. Unfortunately for him and others, it's in English. But so I mean that's I think we've touched a couple bases.
Oh my gosh.
And it's always a breath of fresh air. I mean, there's a lot of smoke in that. There's a lot of smoke in that air.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, what fresh air?
Always a lot of smoke.